So who do you feel good about that's in the running, whether it be this collection of players or some of the other big 4 and 5 stars that LSU's in the running for? Who feels like they're leaning your way? Who feels like is probably slipping away? And you already obviously touched upon some of those guys.
I feel like who's leaning LSU's way, that's got to be Emory Jones. I feel like this guy, he's going to commit to LSU. Offensive lineman, this out of Catholic, Baton Rouge native. I feel like he's a slam dunk. He's a fantastically versatile offensive lineman as well. Shaz Preston, there's not a lot of talk about the end game there with Shaz, where he'll end up. I don't feel like there's an Alabama attraction there. I don't feel like, even though his brother played at Mississippi State, still plays at Mississippi State, that would be an attraction for him. I still feel like Mickey Joseph's been on him for too long, since 8th grade, that I feel like he's going to I think he's going to be a Tiger. Kendrick Law, I feel like he's a guy who's solidly a Tiger. I feel like he's going to continue to lean that way. He's extremely versatile. You got Durante Jones recruiting him, wanting him to be potentially a safety, maybe even a safety corner hybrid, maybe a nickel guy, one or the other. And then you got Jake Peets also recruiting him to be a receiver, potentially even a running back. Shamar Stewart, though, Mark. Shamar Stewart, I feel like he's leaning away from LSU. There is talk about how do I put this? Shamar and somebody, an adult of some sort, came to LSU asking for something, and LSU were not going to do that. And that's not been confirmed. That's not been completely substantiated, but that is a big, huge rumor. That's not just coming from me. It's coming from a lot of different corners, that they were looking for something LSU were not going to provide. And so I don't feel like Shamar Stewart will be coming to LSU at this point. He's an excellent defensive end. 48 tackles off the edge, outrageous 15 sacks during that pandemic-shortened junior campaign. But I just don't see it with the news we've heard. Kelvin Banks Jr., 4-star. This guy, him and his family had a great time with the Tigers. It's kind of gone quiet since then, as the visits continue. But I feel like Kelvin Banks Jr. will eventually commit to LSU. I feel like there's such a good relationship there with Coach Brad Davis, and they were able to really fall in love with Baton Rouge, him and his family. We'll see if that is true love. Quincy Wiggins, Mark. This guy needs to get his 5th star. It's ridiculous that he hasn't gotten his 5th star yet. But taking visits to Florida, as he just posted on his Instagram today. But he's taking a lot of visits. Alabama's in play there with Pete Golding going hard. I just feel like there's too many connections with Louisiana and LSU. I feel like he's going to stay. I feel like he's going to stay with LSU. Jamon Tapp, defensive end out of Ascension High. He's gone on a tour for himself, where he's gone to Clemson and a bunch of other schools. I'm so on the fence with Jamon Tapp, because there's one day where I feel like, he tells me things like there's no other place like home. Jamon Tapp told me the more he visited places, the more he was like, there's nowhere better than Louisiana. And he said Louisiana is its own culture. That's what his quote was. So I feel like he would want to stay home with the strength of that quote. But at the same time, there's so many coming after him: Florida, Alabama, Louisville, Georgia, USC. He's just because his name isn't in bright lights as one of the sexy names does not mean that Jamon Tapp isn't one of the talented beasts off the edge of this 2022 class. He's got to be in that top 5. Demario Tolan at linebacker, Mark, out of Dr. Phillips. I feel like he will come to LSU. That relationship is strong with Coach Blake Baker. I believe when I saw what Demario Tolan rocking that number 8 in purple and gold, the look he was giving Blake Baker and the look Blake Baker was kind of giving him back as they were kind of just chit-chatting while these photos were going on, it was very father figure. I really loved what I saw there, and I feel like that is a bond that's just become even more strengthened from that visit. Sean Murphy, linebacker at Unity Reed, I think he got more from the coaching side of things, during the camp, during the workouts. When he was being coached by Blake Baker, he was very receptive, and he loved Blake Baker's style of coaching. I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence with Sean Murphy as to whether we'll get this high-octane, fantastic coverage linebacker. But he is definitely in play, Mark. Julian Armea out of St. Thomas Aquinas offensive line. Ed Orgeron tried to get his father, Enzo, and he failed there. And he's trying really hard to get Julian, and there's a lot of buzz with Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son, tight end, also out of St. Thomas Aquinas. That would make 4 LSU Tigers out of that school, with Marcus Dumerville and Marlon Martinez already on roster. There is that connection with the school in Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas, but I'm not hearing anything out of Julian Armea's camp. I'm going in there blind when I'm thinking about Julian Armea after the initial kind of buzz of info. It's just been completely nothing. So kind of on the fence there, Mark. 5-star linebacker out of Cy Park, Harold Perkins, one of my favorite players of the class, Mark. This guy, 47 tackles in 10 games, 14.5 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections, 13 in the last 2 seasons. A pick 6 as well, forces 3 fumbles, recovers another, and then he rushes for almost 1,000 yards. I think it was 983, 14 rushing touchdowns as well. He even caught 371 for 3 touchdowns. This dude is an absolute athlete. 93 tackles over the past 2 years, Mark. Harold Perkins, he's got a great uncle, his uncle Kevin, who's a big-time New Orleans Saints and LSU guy right there in New Orleans. He's pushing LSU hard. And Harold and his family were having a great time with the Tigers. They're putting on the purple and gold and dancing around. They put those videos all over Instagram, and it was hilarious. It was awesome. It was a good time, and I think that family wants to come back to their Louisiana roots. I feel like Harold Perkins is a definite take. He's coming back to LSU. You can book that. Yeah, there's plenty of targets. Mark, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. If you've got more info and more insight and your perspective on anybody else that LSU's tracking right now, absolutely, we'll take it.
Hell yeah. Damari Alston, 4-star running back out of Woodward Academy. Mark, this guy, like I said last time, he's perfect for our offense. With Le'Veon Moss taking off to go to Alabama, understandably, all of our blessings to you, Le'Veon. But Damari Alston, he is that guy. I think he really digs the Tigers. I think he loves what the program's offering, especially coming from Kevin Falk. I think Kevin Falk's been more confident coming into year 2 at running back coach. I think Damari, I think he'll be coming to LSU. Eli Henderson, center out of Burns. This guy comes out of nowhere, 3-star. He's not really highly touted. But here's the thing. Brad Davis, he got his commitment at Arkansas while he was there under Sam Pittman, the head coach there at Arkansas. But can Pittman keep Eli Henderson, the much-needed center for LSU, there at Arkansas? Can he keep him from Brad Davis? I'm not so sure. I think Eli Henderson, forget the rankings. This dude, he's built for the battles on the inside. He's 6'4", 290. His snapping is fluid. He always snaps in the shotgun formation. He's built for that. Another great hallmark of LSU's offensive structure. And he shows the versatility at guard as well. There's a lot of mechanisms that Brad Davis can pull to make this flip happen. And I feel like taking the job at LSU almost books that. Kamari Wilson, the safety from IMG, Mark. I really want this player, Mark. I think next to Kendrick Law, Kamari might be my favorite player of the class. Durante Jones has been going after him the second he got the job. He's really good friends with LT Welch, 2022 cornerback commit for LSU, and he's got some friends there. He had a great time coming here on campus. He's talked about Durante Jones' NFL pedigree. And I don't know. I don't hear much from him. I know he's being an entrepreneur as he goes on his trail, as he goes on his tour. He's going to sell himself, but then he's going to make sure those schools are selling themselves to him. Kamari is going to be one of those guys that it's going to be very tough to get, Mark. I think he's going to be the toughest outside of Shamar Stewart to get in this class. But there's a few under the radar guys. Manny Powell, linebacker from Canton, Ohio's McKinley High. Mark, I know you'll be excited about this guy. One of your home state dudes. This guy, man, he possesses the right kind of stuffing abilities needed in the SEC. He already has the size, the hard-hitting, the acrobatic athleticism. He's really breathtaking inside linebacker. I don't know how this guy's a 3-star. His ability to just, kind of pick through the traffic and just boom, the last second. He's 6'3", 225. I really like him. He runs a 4.4 40 as well, and a verified sub-11 second time at the 100. This young bruiser's speed is outrageous, and he's only getting quicker as he polishes his technique ahead of a colossal senior season. Mark, I feel like Manny Powell has been underrated way too long. Everyone go check out Manny Powell's 2022 profile on LSUodyssey.com. Give this kid some support. This kid deserves it. He's getting some offers, but he needs to get even more. This kid has some fantastic ability out there, Mark. Bryce Anderson. I feel like Bryce Anderson won't be coming to LSU. I feel like he's too in demand. I feel like there's too many spots taken up with Sage Ryan, Matthew Langlois, Jacoby Matthews. Walter Nolan is another guy I don't feel like is trending LSU's way as well. I feel like we already have enough defensive tackle help, and we're kind of keying on a guy after Tyee Hill. It would be great to have Walter Nolan, but I don't think we're going to get that 5-star. But yeah, Mark, there's definitely this is one of the deepest classes we've seen in a long time. Have you seen a class this deep, Mark?
It's pretty incredible, the talent at all the positions across the board. And I can't really peg any particular position of strength, but I'm not a recruiting guy, but at the same time, I deal with it every year with guys like you. And so I get the secondhand knowledge coming to me as I post the videos and, of course, do the analysis, again, thanks to guys like yourself. So I'm not the recruiting guy, but it seems to be an extremely deep class.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, this is the thing, Mark. When I'm talking about a guy like Eli Henderson and I'm getting all fired up, it's because go watch that dude's film. I'm talking about a guy like Manny Powell, a 3-star out of Ohio. And
I'm looking him up right now. He's from right down the street from where I grew up, about 20 minutes away.
I thought of you instantly. I was like, we got to get this guy to Mark's radar. Manny Powell. This dude, I mean, he will take you to church out there, Mark. This guy, he's a savage. And I really like this guy. I really like rooting for him. He could play for any school in the country.
Quite a list from Lon Philip Sullivan here, breaking down LSU, the commits that are already in play, which is 11 hard commits right now. And then I don't know how many you just ran down that are targets right now, hoping to get their fair share to maintain a top 5 ranking in the country. All right. This wide receiver, Jalen Hale, you got notice just prior to us coming on here that the 5-star from 2023, he's going to visit. Is that what we heard?
Oh, he's already on campus taking those photos. He's having a good time there in Baton Rouge right now, hanging out with Walker Howard, Will Campbell, and the gang, Big Willie style. Walker and Will, they've been there every visit. It's a strategy by this brilliant coaching staff to have these pinnacle guys that everyone wants to play with there every time. I mean, the players are becoming the best recruiters, and Walker, Will, they're there every time. And they're going after the 2023 guys too.